Welcome into Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today it is the weekly mailbag where I answer your questions on the black and gold. It is NFL Combine Week. By the time this comes out, most of the Combine's festivities have already been done, but man, it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see where your questions are. So before we get things going today, make sure you guys click that subscribe button to join the most interactive Steelers YouTube community right here on the platform, okay? We strive to give you guys a voice, to get your questions, your ideas, your thoughts on the show, on the mailbag every single week because we love you, we care about you, and we want to give you guys a voice right here on the channel. So with that, I'll pause and open it up for questions. $50 super chat here from Omar's Burner, one of our newest Black Diamonds, and he says, of course, I'd be the one to send in the 50 for Coop to get slapped. Also, is there anything behind DraftKings removing the odds for where Justin Fields will go? Would think to prevent people from inside info from betting. I definitely think something's up here when it comes to DraftKings taking down betting for Justin Fields' next place, because I do think that they're worried about people cashing in on inside information. These people talk at the Combine, man. They talk with each other. They know who's calling about certain players and all these different things, and rumors spread. And when you have all these people in one spot discussing the same thing and they're telling each other the same things can get a bit hairy. So I definitely think something's up, and I definitely think the Atlanta Falcons are emerging as a favorite to land Justin Fields. Who knows what happens? Maybe Omar Khan does something here and he lands Justin Fields in the next couple of days or weeks. But I definitely think Atlanta is probably the presumptive favorite at this point. Then we got one from Pickens14 Goat. It says, why did Art Rooney get an F- on the NFLPA report card? Is he really that bad? So the Steelers got an F- for family engagement. Okay, so it wasn't an F- overall, but they were ranked 28th overall according to the report card. So that report card, it's embarrassing, man. The facilities are terrible. You share it with a college team. I mean, there's just, when it comes to all the fancy stuff that NFL players are used to, the Steelers just don't have any of that. They've got like the worst locker room, the worst training facilities. Apparently, they don't like the owner, Art Rooney, very much. He's not very good for families. So when you combine all of that, you get this really low ranking. And honestly, guys, I wish that Art Rooney would put a little bit more investment into this team because, I mean, it's a blue blood franchise, and these players deserve to get treated right. Then we got one from The Bus, and he says, how do you feel if the Steelers signed Xavien Howard this offseason? So Howard got cut by Miami for a reason, guys, all right? In coverage, he really fell off a cliff last year. Now, if the Steelers want to bring him in on like a short-term deal that's like, not very expensive, sure, why not? Bring him in. He's a good fit schematically for this defense, I think. Now, that would have Patrick Peterson bringing in like an older corner on a team-friendly deal. That has Patrick Peterson written all over it, and we all know Pat Pete just wasn't fast enough to survive on the outside this year. Maybe that's Xavien Howard, right? So I don't know. This smells like a Steelers signing to me, so I could certainly see it happening. But personally, I'd like to get a little bit more youthful, and I'd like to get a little bit more speed. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Would you sign Xavien Howard this offseason? I think he's going to be relatively cheap, so keep that in mind. This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so whenever you get a second here, whenever YouTube throws you an ad break, give me a yes or no to the question, would you sign Xavien Howard? Then we got one from Bo Irwin here. It says, how much cap hit do the Steelers have right now? So they've got just under $10 million to spend right now, according to what the NFL just released their cap number to be in 2024. They've got just under $10 million, and they still have some players that they could cut. If you cut Allen Robinson, you save $10 million more dollars. I think that's a move that they're going to have to make here coming up. Also, you got DeMonte KZ, Patrick Peterson, Keanu Neal. There's still players that they could cut to create more space. And then they also have restructures. Alex Highsmith, Minkah Fitzpatrick have multiple years left on their deals, and it would certainly make sense to maybe restructure those guys as well to maximize the amount of cap space to work with heading into free agency. Then we got one to Homie Zaya here. He says, trade Diontae Johnson for a second-round pick, then get Pittman Jr., then pick quarterback in round 2. So Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be pretty darn expensive. It's going to depend on the moves that they make in terms of creating cap space that I just talked about, the restructures, the cuts. It's going to depend how much space that they have, because I don't think they're going to want to spend all of their cap space on a wide receiver. And Michael Pittman Jr., if you guys remember, Devontae KZ absolutely laid it into him in the game last year in Indy. Is Pittsburgh really a place that he wants to go? I don't know the answer to that question. I like Michael Pittman Jr. as a player. Would certainly love to have him on the team, but he's expensive. I don't know how practical it is. And then if you can get a Michael Penix Jr. in round 2, I am 100% on board with that. Then we got one from Light Up Productions here, and he says 1 to 10, realistic chance of getting Fields, 1 to 10, realistic chance of getting Russell Wilson. So on a scale of 1 to 10 for Fields, I'd put it, this might surprise some people. I'm going to put it at a 4 right now. Okay, I don't think the Steelers want to give up that first-round draft pick, and I don't blame them. And I think there's other teams out there that are interested in Fields, like the Falcons, that probably are willing to give up more in terms of draft capital to the Bears than the Steelers are willing to give up. But then you go to Wilson. I would say it's at a 7, okay, because I think Russell Wilson, you look at his numbers, you look at his film, he's still a good quarterback in this league, and you can get him for $1.2 million. Are you kidding me? Sign me up for that. I think Omar Khan is going to see that. I think Mike Tomlin's going to see it. If he's made available, he wants to go to Pittsburgh, I think he's going to be a Steeler. So we got more questions coming up here in just a second, but first I want to tell you about our friends at Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/throwback to get your hands on this awesome Steelers throwback t-shirt on their website, on sale right now during the offseason. If you're a fan of just classic designs, you don't want all this crazy stuff on your t-shirts, I think this is a perfect t-shirt for you. It harkens back to a great time in Steelers history with the throwback helmet, all these different things, and you got the classic black. I just think this is a super clean, super fresh t-shirt that would look great in your closet, and it's on sale right now from our friends at Fanatics when you use our link, chatsports.com/throwback. That's chatsports.com/throwback. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Check it out now before they run out in your size. Then we got one from TELB Productions. It says, thoughts on Darius Rush. So I like Rush. I like the physical tools that he brings to the table. He runs fast. He's long. He's physical. I thought he looked good on his film. I had a 5th-round grade on him last year. So I like him. I don't love him. And he's just another youthful corner to have in the room. You got Joey Porter Jr. and you've got Corey Trice Jr., 2 guys that I think have a ton of potential. Joey Porter Jr. is already fantastic. Darius Rush, I'd say, definitely is lower on the totem pole at this point. He wasn't given a helmet for a lot of the games down the stretch, and that's with guys like Levi Wallace and James Pierre getting helmets. So I don't think he's overly impressive at this point in his career, and I'd be surprised if he's a starter for the team heading into the future. Then we got one from Tail Spinna. He says, why haven't the Steelers cut Allen Robinson yet? Good question, man. I wish I had that freaking answer. They should cut Allen Robinson because, I think what they might be doing is they're trying to get him to take a pay cut and keep him on the team for some reason, but it's like, why keep him? He can't separate against man coverage. I think it might be because he's a good run blocker, and Arthur Smith likes that, but you can't just be a wide receiver and be a run blocker. You got to get open. You have to provide value as a pass catcher, and Allen Robinson just doesn't do that. So I think at the end of the day, he should and he will get cut, and that's going to save the Steelers $10 million for 2024. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What will the Pittsburgh Steelers do with Allen Robinson? Will they keep him or will they cut him? Type C for cut or K for keep. Let me know what you guys think. Then we got one from Shane Reich, and he says, if we use a 3rd and 4th round picks to get Fields, could we trade Pickett and Diontae Johnson for 3rd and 4th round picks? So I actually think Diontae Johnson, you could probably get a 2nd round pick for, but then Pickett, I think could probably be worth a 5th or a 6th. Just because of the way that he's played so far in his career. He doesn't have a super high upside or anything along those lines. I would say a second and a fifth is probably what you could get for Pickett and Diontae if you end up trading for Justin Fields. Then we got one from Limesy here, and he says, do you think we could get a good wide receiver for Diontae Johnson? If so, who? So I don't think that you would get one in a trade for Diontae Johnson. I think you'd get a draft pick in exchange for Diontae Johnson. And with the $10 million in additional cap space by trading Diontae Johnson, then you could potentially get a guy like Tyler Boyd or maybe a Mike Evans, all right? Somebody along those lines that's going to be hitting the free agency market here. And then also you could draft another wide receiver. Malik Washington is a guy that I love. Ricky Pearsall from Coop's alma mater there in Florida. Good stuff there. I would love that. So I think there's a lot of options if you end up trading Diontae Johnson, especially if you get a good high draft pick for him. So I can't answer the question of who right now, but I definitely know it would be somebody and probably somebody good with the way the Steelers know the position. So we got more questions coming up here in just a second. But first, if you're enjoying today's content, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon. Right now, if you are a real one, really do appreciate all of your guys' support. If you click that thumbs up icon, it'll tell the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to other Steelers fans like yourselves. Then we got one from Mike in Texas. It says, what do you think of James Williams from Miami? Safety, linebacker, hybrid. So he's definitely somebody that's going to go probably on day 3. He's a bigger safety. And that's what the Steelers like, especially when they run that 3 safety package that Mike Tomlin likes to run. Now, they might bring back Terrell Edmunds, and he fills that role. So if they bring back Terrell, I would say James Williams is probably off the table. But, you know, you're sitting in round 5 or round 6 this year. James Williams is sitting there. I absolutely think he's somebody that could be there for the taking for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially if they haven't taken a safety at that point. Then we got a $5 super chat here from Omar's Burner. He says, thoughts on moving Darnell to tight end? He meant offensive tackle. He would add another element to Arthur's offense. If we do eligible receiver, also reportedly all-pro upside. So he's got the body for it, but I think if you're going to make that decision, they probably would have already told Darnell what their plan is, and he'd be putting on more weight. I don't think he's ready to be an offensive tackle at his current weight. He'd have to put on poundage, and I don't think that's what they want him to do. I think Arthur Smith wants to have 5 down linemen, regular linemen, and then he wants Darnell Washington to be a massive, hulking, run-blocking tight end. I think that's what his vision is for him. So I don't see them moving Darnell over to tackle. I see him as a blocking tight end, kind of like Zach Gentry was here for so many years. And that's kind of what I think their vision is for him, and I think he's going to be damn good at it. Then we got one from Edging 422. It says, I get that Russell Wilson might be the best QB option for the short term, but what is the plan long term if he signs here? So this is what I'll say, okay? I think the Steelers roster is ready to win now. They got a great defense, great head coach in my opinion, weapons out the wazoo on offense. Really like where this team is going. The offensive line's getting better. All that stuff. I think they got a legit OC. They're a quarterback away, in my opinion. So I don't want to think about, future. I want to think about right now. Get Russell Wilson. Okay, so that's step number 1 for me because I think he gives you the best shot to win a Super Bowl now and in the near future. And then if you want to think about future, how about we talk about guys like Michael Penix Jr. in the 2nd round if he falls to you? Let's talk about Spencer Rattler in the 3rd round if he falls to you. Let's talk about guys like Michael Pratt if he falls to the 4th round. You know, some guys that might have some developmental upside here to kind of be a backup behind Russell Wilson, learn for a couple of years, and then when Russ is eventually moving on, we can potentially move on to a younger quarterback that's already primed, seasoned, and ready to go. That'll be it for today's mailbag. Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now for all the latest Steelers news and rumors updates all throughout this offseason.